Ma'am, often students have this question that whether presentation in history carries marks because for two factors. Number one, while we are writing answers, sometimes the students are not sure how big or how small the answer should be. And second, we like if at all the paper we are unable to complete the paper well in time, or if at all we have completed half paper and 1 hour 15 minutes are already completed, that exam pressure automatically builds up. So, like, how strong should be our presentation, and whether presentation in history carries marks?
See, presentation, see, I will tell you, presentation do carry marks, but not, we don't give you extra mark for better presentation. The presentation in the sense, as I told you, you need to write in points. That makes a good presentation, yes. And remove this myth, children, that for history you need to write too much. As I keep on saying, we are not going to weigh your answer paper, children. Yes. What we want in your answers, we want quality, not quantity. Come out of this. If we write more, we get more marks. No, better. If you write to the point, if you write correct, you get the marks. If you write half a page, if you write 1 page, 2 page, but the content is not there, you get 0. If you write half a page with good content, while covering all the points, you get full marks. So I repeat, we are not going to weigh your answer papers. We want what? We want quality in your answers, not quantity. As when we were also small, when we were of your age, we used to come and say our friends, oh, you know, I took 10 supplements in history. I took 7 supplements. So paper was good. But no, examiner will not count the supplements. They are going to see your content, irrespective of how much, how big you write. Some smart children who write to the points, cover all the points in half a page, get full marks. Okay.
And ma'am, at the same time, what are the very common or silly mistakes which most of the students commit in a history paper, which one should not?
First mistake which they do is they write too much for the short answers. Okay. And then they don't get sufficient time to write the structured question. Yes. This is the first mistake which most of the students do. Okay. Don't do that. Second, wherever points are there, write in points.
Yes.
Okay. And another thing, children, another mistake, if you know the date thoroughly, if you are confirmed with the dates, then write the date. Don't write wrong date. It's better to leave than to write the wrong date. Suppose I give you a small example. There is one question in First World War, Sarajevo crisis is the immediate cause of the First World War. Yes. Okay. In that question, you will see there are many dates given. Okay. Austria attacked Serbia. Serbia got support from Russia. The dates are given. Okay. Examiner is not asking you to write the date. If you are writing the answers, if you are thorough with the date, write the dates. If you don't know the dates, if you have a confusion with the date, you just write first Austria attacked Serbia, then Russia supported Serbia, then Germany attacked Russia. Don't write the date if you don't know the dates properly. Okay, but if you write the date, make sure you write the correct.
Ma'am, this was my very next question, because we have seen most of our friends or students who often fear history, saying that there are lots of dates and lots of names which is very difficult to hear. So if I divide this question into two parts, first, in the history, in the Indian history, we have always seen that there are several moments. There are several movements which are initiated by our leaders. They begin in 1 year, end in 1 year. And to the second part, in the First World War, we have often seen that countries attack each other, but they have a specific year. So how to remember these dates?
Again, Satish, this is again a myth. There are not much dates in history.
Okay.
They're all correlated. Okay. And if you talk about grade 10 history, if I talk about grade 8 and grade 9, there are lots of dates. Grade 10 history, Indian history, if the date is there, it is only in the first chapter. That is the revolt of 1857, which has dates. Other chapters, you don't have much dates. And for dates also, children, you can make a timeline. Take a paper, write in a, put a timeline in that, write all the dates in one paper so that you can revise that thoroughly. Whenever you are free, go through the dates. Okay?
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, at the end, if at all we have a time of 5 to 10 minutes left after writing the entire paper, how should we check the paper? Or if we have only 5 minutes left, so which section should we check first?
Check for short answers. Because that you have done it first and you are in a hurry
Yes.
when you write the short answers. Okay? So write
Yes.
first, check those short answers, because for short answers, if it is correct, you get full marks.
Yes.
So first check the short answer. And one more thing, Suthesh, I want to tell the students that for civics, powers and functions of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, President, then we
Prime
have
Minister.
Council of Ministers and all. There are a lot of confusions with power and functions. So
Yes.
everybody, whoever revised for history civics, this is the time where you can keep a full-scale paper with you. Write all the powers and function in one full-scale paper, so that you can read those powers and functions regularly. There is no, you actually they get confused. Legislative powers, what to write. Executive powers, what to include. So you write 4 points. Four points are enough. 4 legislative powers. Below that, 4 executive powers. Check which are there in the syllabus and write in one full-scale paper. Keep on revising whenever you are. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, at the end, all of us know that we have exactly 1 month left, I could say, for our board exams, somewhere or the other. And all the students have a little bit of exam pressure. So how to handle this pressure in general, and what should be some important steps which could be taken for subjects like history or geography, or lengthy subjects, or the subjects with answers?
Now, children, first of all, relax. Have confidence. Yes, you all have studied hard. Yes. Keep faith on you. Keep faith on God. Study hard. Okay. And now this is the time, children. Please stop all the other things. Maximum time you should actually allot in studying. Okay. And for your stress buster, listen to the music. If you love music, listen to the music. Eat healthy food so that your immunity is strong. Okay. And children, other than watching TV, playing games on your phones, you can listen to the music, go for a walk, so that you are refreshed. And the important thing is, you should have confidence that yes, I have studied. If not, I'm going to study now and make sure that I'm going to fulfill my expectations. Okay.
Right, ma'am. And ma'am, there's one single question which many of the students have for subjects like history. Is it necessary to refer the reference books or some particular textbook other than the school textbook?
No, if you study your school textbook thoroughly, and if you want to refer anything, you can refer last year question paper. That is all. No need to refer any this thing, reference books. Read the topics which are there in the syllabus thoroughly. If you read the topics from your textbook thoroughly, believe me, it is not difficult to score good marks in history. Whether you will score very good marks if you study the topics which are there in the syllabus thoroughly from your own textbooks.
Right, ma'am.
Make your textbook, as I say, make your textbook your granth and study it thoroughly.
So, ma'am, to sum up, I can say school textbook plus last 10-year question papers, dedication and confidence is equals to 80 marks in board exams in history.
Yes, it equals you 80 marks on your board exam.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us for today's interview. I'm sure this will help us.
Thank you. Thank you so much.